My name's Ed Storty, and I have the privilege of introducing Bobby Shergi, past Chief Executive Officer of the House of Hope. She not only volunteered for years, but also then worked at the House of Hope and did see it evolving to what it is today. She was a mainstay of the growth of where it's at. So, Bobby, it's great to have you with me today. I'm really proud that we're doing this telethon. And I guess what I'd like to ask you, if you could give me some information. First of all, in 1955, the House of Hope was in Long Beach. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Right. There was a woman named Gloria McKee who had a little trouble staying sober. And she finally had her bottom, which was when she drank some caustic fluid and nearly died. And as a result, she wanted to start a house where she could help other alcoholic women. And so that was in Long Beach, California. And that lasted until 1971, when one of her clients, Helen Gilbert, grew tired of driving from Palos Verdes to Long Beach. So she looked for another house closer to Palos Verdes and found what we today is called our main house on 9th Street in Palos Verdes. The main house is in a historic region because at one time it was owned by saloon keepers and there was a bar next door. So it was called Saloon Keepers Row, and today it's called Vinegar Hill Historic District.
What happened in 1996?
1996 was our first edition, and it was by a woman called Dotha Wellborn, who turned out to be the most generous benefactor that we had seen, obviously, to this time. And she bought a house down the street within a block, and it was for women who graduated from the House of Hope and didn't have any place to go. She also very generously endowed the House of Hope with a safety net endowment and then became a board of director emeritus. Our second one is Ed Storty, who is equally as generous. And so we have two board member emeritus.
1997, I think, was the first sober living facility.
You are right. And again, we only had 7 beds at the Wellborn House, and we found the need for our increasing number of clients to have a place to sleep and to have a place of support. So we bought our first building, 2-story building on 10th Street. It's within a block, and it used to be a crack house. And we cleaned it up, and today it still remains our sober living building. And we were very fortunate to have the McMillan Family Foundation come into our family several years later, and they retired our first mortgage. That was the first mortgage that the House of Hope had ever had. Very difficult to get for a nonprofit. But the McMillan family joined us and retired the mortgage. They love our mission, and they still do, and have become one of our largest benefactors, as you will see as we progress through the facilities.
Next, what was the next home, Bobby?
In 1999, we acquired the liquor store, which was on the corner. There's a small laundromat next door. And this was negotiated by our then board treasurer, Bill Johnson. And he was our visionary. He truly started us on the idea that we could grow. He did play a major part in the building acquisition. And later, when we bought it, we had no money. We didn't have any money. And so Sheila Lynch, who was the executive director at that time, and Bill Johnson put together a group of volunteers and board members, every board member, everybody that had anything to do with the House of Hope. And we literally renovated the building and changed it into what today is called the Adams Center. And it's called the Adams Center because the Adams Family Foundation helped fund it.
Interesting. Boy, there's sure been a lot of good people that have been there over the 65 years.
Oh, my heavens. Without all these people, Ed, the House of Hope would not be here. Every one of them so generous and always there whenever we needed. We had to grow. We kept growing from the first license by the county was 15 women. And now I believe we have, well, it's a moving number. We have outpatient, and I think we could total 42 in outpatient. And again, I'm not quite sure how many clients because they move, it changes daily.
The Mary Lou House, Bobby, can you expand on that a little bit?
I can. In 2000, we acquired our second sober living facility, which is now used as our primary phase 2. At that time, it was expanded sober living. And with the generosity from Mary Lou and Bill Steinmetz, they helped us pay off that building, our second mortgage.
In 2017, I think that was the Chris McMillan house.
It is, yes. Carl McMillan had 2 sons who both died of addiction. And in 2017, the McMillan Foundation bought the house directly across the street from the main house. And it is today used for Recovery Bridge housing women. And these are women homeless who join our outpatient program. And that's what it's used for today.
Boy, that McMillan Foundation sure has been amazing to help.
Yes, as a matter of fact, today they still give us money to help us through a grant that continues for 5 years.
Absolutely. I mean, their generosity has saved women's lives, period. And also for so many that have gained their counseling degrees and started at the House of Hope, as well as certified folks now that we have licensure folks that are there in their therapeutic expertise. It's just amazing what is offered versus days past when we didn't know what was going to happen. But, you know, I don't want to forget about 2019, Bobby. What happened in 2019?
Well, in 2019, our final acquisition is, again, a McMillan Family Foundation gift. And this house is called Bobby's House in honor of my 24 years with the House of Hope. It is today used for Recovery Bridge housing for homeless women if they're enrolled in our outpatient program. It's a beautiful little house. It's also in the historic district, and it will not change. It remains as it is.
Thank you so much for this voyage in history of just going through it and all the good people in 65 years, all that's been done. So many, I mean, we could go name after name after name of people that have given time and energy. But, you know, on behalf of so many folks out there and people that have gone through the House of Hope and have been a part of it, I want to thank you for all that you've done for the House of Hope and being an executive director. You've given so much, and God bless you for that time and energy and for what you believed in.
Thank you, Ed. We can't forget the board of directors and our regents who were also the mainstay in getting things started. It was a pleasure serving on the board, but my heart lies as being executive director to deal directly with the women and to see so many recovered women, and as you said earlier, who have now beautiful lives, clean and sober. And that's our mission statement. We'll always be there for any woman who wants to walk through our gates. And Ed, again, thank you for asking me to be a part of this.
Absolutely. Hey, see you on the telethon. You take care.
You bet. Bye-bye.